Back to Forever United TV on this Father's Day. Hope all you dads had a fantastic day and you was looked after and spoilt. Let's get through the end of day business and what's happening around Manchester United. Oh, that's why you're all here. That's why you're all in the comment section right now. Give me your thoughts in there, please, everybody, on all of the topics. It has been a very interesting day. So, took the full day off pretty much. Just let the news bubble up and see what happens. What's usually happening right now with Manchester United is we get some news and then someone counters that news in the same day within a few hours. So we've let everything just simmer today and see it out. Had a decent Father's Day. Hope you all had a good one as well. Went out, had a few drinks, some food. Lovely day. And while checking on Manchester United food, there was one very common thing that came out, which was Manchester United's attack is still the priority. And that's where we're starting today's show, everyone. We're talking about Ekitike and Manchester United's approach for him. More news on Viktor Gyökeres as well. Victor Osimhen's priorities. Rasmus Højlund going to Italy. What's happening with Antony? And of course, like I just mentioned a moment ago, all of your thoughts on that as well. And everybody else's opinion. I'll give you the news. I'll go through everything. I'll give you my thoughts. I'll dig out some extra bits on why I feel certain things are happening and moving. We'll dissect it. We'll just look at everything and then we'll get all of your thoughts piling in the live chat, everybody. Hello. Hope you're all doing fantastically well. Live chat, welcome. Everybody who's catching up later, welcome. Get your thoughts in as well in the comment section. And let's get on with the show and let's see what is actually happening out there, because there has been big moves with Ekitike and reports coming over from Germany this afternoon. But before that, this morning we talked about Man United losing out on Viktor Gyökeres, and just after, a couple of hours after actually, out on a walk after the early morning shows today, find out that Arsenal have now dropped out of the race for Viktor Gyökeres. Still interested in Manchester United, of course. Well, I'm sorry, Viktor. Yes, when you're dealing with Manchester United, it usually gets leaked out, and every tiny little detail gets leaked out about anything that happens. And of course, you didn't want your choices or anybody to know in the public domain what you were thinking, what your real plans were. But this is what happens when it's Man United. I'm sorry, mate. You are done for right now. If Arsenal have dropped out, then you are without a football club. There are reports that Gyökeres could be going to Juventus, though, and that is starting to bubble up a little bit in Italian quarters at the moment regarding their media. But we will see how that one develops in time. But Viktor Gyökeres' people apparently now, this is a report that came out earlier on, feel like they're being used as leverage now to help Arsenal get Benjamin Sesko. It changes very quickly, doesn't it? From going and having the news leaked out that United are not your number one choice, for that club then to leave you and go on to other targets, to then the club that you are waiting for to bin you also. This is all according to the reports, by the way. It does actually come back and smack you right back in the face, doesn't it? Some would say karma. Some would say welcome to big transfers, Viktor. And this is what happens. But we're not bothered right now. Man United have moved forward, and Ekitike apparently is fully on board with the idea of moving to Manchester United. Now, this is a player that United, if we're going off the model of Manchester United's transfer structure and previous deals that have kiboshed or KO'd certain players, like the Gyökeres, obviously other players that don't want to come to Manchester United because of Champions League football. If we're going to use that model, then Ekitike fits the bill for United. What Ruben said, what Omar Barada, our CEO, said as well. Players who want to come to Manchester United, we will go for. They'll be the ones that are on our list. And the fact that Manchester United, like Plettenberg said 3 days ago, have had concrete talks with Frankfurt, talks only, not negotiations, just the talks as to the conditions of the deal, says one thing. Then you've got German publications coming out today saying that Manchester United have not only spoken to the agent of Ekitike, bad bit on that is it's his brother. And again, we've got experience with that. I don't know if he's as bad as the others. For instance, Garnacho, Rashford, both got family members as their agents. Never really works out well, that, does it? But look, we'll give it a chance. Maybe we could get this deal done and get him in on a long-term contract. I don't know. We will see of this one. But yes, United have contacted his brother, his agents, and apparently now, according to German sources, like you can see going across the bottom of your screen there, Manchester United are in fact the only team to have contacted Frankfurt directly. That's coming from Germany. And right now, that I think is probably the most significant sign that Manchester United do have an interest in Ekitike. It hasn't gone away. and now we start the negotiations, and the talks are now about to kickstart with Man United and Ekitike. How quick this one will move, I have no idea. Obviously, there are other clubs interested. Liverpool and Chelsea are still in the mould, but like we said this morning, they are not fully there, Liverpool in particular, because they have to move players on now. United might actually be able to move on this deal with what we've got available to us now. And always, like we've said, it isn't the price tag. It isn't what this transfer is costing on paper in front of you overall. It's how much that transfer costs a year in PSR. That's all that matters for Manchester United. And they feel that they can get a deal done with the player's contract package and obviously the transfer fee if they can negotiate that down. Now, interesting fact that did come out was that Manchester United do have some an advantage over other clubs fighting for Ekitike, and that is our man indeed, the Mr. Expert in the area of transfers and developing young talent, Mr. Christopher Vival. Obviously, in his time at RB Leipzig, where he produced countless talents, bringing them through the ranks of the RB group, has got some, well, let's just say, decent contacts over in Germany, but he's very friendly with the sporting director at Frankfurt, apparently. That's something that we read earlier on, so that obviously bodes well for Manchester United in terms of negotiations. Can we get some form of deal out of this? It's not going to change the price or anything like that, but just having somebody who knows somebody can go an awful long way as to what Manchester United are trying to do here and how we're looking to operate in this transfer window. It's about people you do know in these areas sometimes rather than what you know. And I think if United can use our contacts to our advantage, we should go all in on that. So Ekitike, 85 million is the price. Look, that, and everybody's going in on that, and I can see that bubbling up in the live chat already. That obviously just seems too steep. It seems like it's a bit too much for anybody to be taken seriously. Let's just say that. But when you look at what's happened before with previous transfers, in particular with the likes of Frankfurt, in fact, look at Mamouche. They wanted a high price for him. They came down for him. This always happens. There'll be somewhere in the middle that will be agreed if Man United do indeed go all in on Ekitike. It won't be 85 million. United will not pay that. United will try to negotiate this down and try and get this deal into the realms of affordability for PSR. And again, they'll have a figure in mind that they can work with, and they'll already be working on the package, which is why they've spoken to the player's agent first. So speak to the player's agents, find out the sort of parameters and what he's looking for wage-wise, work on that. If you can then get a verbal agreement in on the player, like we did pretty much with Bryan Mbeumo, and know what they're happy to go for, you know what that's then costing over a 5 or 6 year contract and how much that's going to cost each year. And then you know what you've got to work on then in terms of the actual transfer fee itself and what the payments are going to need to be for it to fit your financial figures and everything going on throughout that year. And so Manchester United trying to get this deal up to that point where they know exactly what the player wants. He's started on low wages. Obviously, he's only on about 56 grand a week at the moment at Frankfurt when you calculate that and you change the currency over from euros to pounds. And I think if United can get him in and around that, I don't know, maybe between the 120 and 160-ish mark. I mean, even if United were getting him in approximately around the, let's say, Cunha and Mbeumo sort of, they don't want to pay more than 200 grand a week for any player, it would seem right now, Man United. So if they get him in around that, so they can work that out and what that is and what is that a year. And then the transfer fee on top of that. Like we've said, if you wanted a £100 million player, that cost you in transfer fee 20 million in instalments. That's what it costs. If you're paying that player 200 grand a week. So £20 million for a £100 million player on 200 grand a week. Ekitike is not going to be 200 grand a week. There is no way that he's going to be on that contract. So you can take some money off that. You can also take some money off that 100 million as well, because United won't pay that either. And all of a sudden, you're looking at a figure which is going to cost Manchester United, I feel, around the 15 to 17 million pound a year mark for Hugo Ekitike. And all of a sudden, 85 million turns into 15 to 17 million. That isn't that bad. And the fact that he's a younger player helps Manchester United structure this deal because they feel that there is value further down the line. United won't go out and pay this sort of money for a Viktor Gyökeres because he hasn't got any sell-on factor at the end, and it's a one trick. Yes, he's more experienced, and that can add value in a way where he could probably guarantee you more goals and get you up the table, and that's that fine balancing act. But the reason that Ekitike is in so high is because people like Frankfurt know that that is a valuable asset to have. The fact that you have got a sell on as well at the end, it gives you room for financial wiggle room, basically. That's what Manchester United will be calculating in this as well, just to break down. But that's where we're at right now. Talks with both agent and club have taken place. How far this now moves forward, we will see. And obviously everybody has talked about the sweeteners and the possibility of other players going the other way. Let's not forget, if Hugo Ekitike is willing to come to Manchester United, then that is a massive bonus for us because we haven't got Champions League football. The possibility in the other way, on the other hand for Manchester United also, is that we now have players that we want to offload, and Frankfurt do indeed have Champions League football. Third best team in the Bundesliga this season. So there is something maybe United could push back across to Frankfurt. So I'm not saying that swaps are ideal, but maybe there is some form of deal to be had for Manchester United where we can offload somebody and bring in a better talent. Because let's not forget, out of all of this, and this was said by Plettenberg, Romano, Ekitike has told Frankfurt he's leaving this summer, and that's a definite. So they know that they're going to lose this player. He has told them he is leaving. And this wasn't just in the last week while we've heard the news about Gyökeres and Buddy Osman and all of this. This happened around about 6 or 7 weeks ago. I remember talking about it. I just didn't think that we were going to get to this stage because at that point, we had Delat, we had Gyökeres coming in, Osman talks were going on with Manchester United. There was all sorts happening. Mateta. We didn't even think of Ekitike. He was just a player that Man United were looking at. And this transfer window has gone through this first couple of weeks, now into 3 weeks zone now. And we're looking at all sorts going on. And United have had to pivot a couple of times to try and get things sorted. Ekitike is more than affordable for Manchester United. Even at the figures that we're looking at right now with that 85 million, people will look at that price tag and completely ignore the fact that this isn't about the actual transfer fee. It's about yearly annual affordability for Manchester United. That's it. They're happy to have that investment in a younger player that is only going to be on a certain amount of wages. What would you rather have? A 60-odd million Osman on absolutely ridiculous wages with no sell-on? Yes, he brings you the goals. Or the next best thing in Ekitike? I get it. Like, it's just potential. And he isn't at the level that Osman and Gyökeres are at yet. But Manchester United as a business are looking at this, and they're also trying to put players into this team that are just not that are not just there for the Champions League. And if Ekitike is willing to actually leave a Champions League club to come to Manchester United, then that for us and that for Man United's board and that recruitment team is absolute gold. So that's the case for why United would be going for him. In terms of my opinion on this as well, like, I'm not trying to big Ekitike up to say that he's the best we can get. He isn't. Not by a mile he's the best we can get, but I can see why United would go for Ekitike. I really can. I think he is a very, very good player, an outstanding player, in fact, and he really could be someone that is United's number 9 for the next 7 or 8 years easily. Let's not forget, he's still young, still very, very young, early 20s, 22, I think, in fact. 22 or 23, I can't remember the exact age. But, yeah, decent goal-scoring record this season as well, 22 goals in all competitions. So when you look at that and you look at what Manchester United are investing into, you can see why. And people straight away, just at that price tag, would start to buckle and go, this is Rasmus Højlund number 2. And that's the counter to it. You've got people saying that you've got someone who's going to come in Viktor Osman that has got no Premier League experience. He's just going back to what Manchester United have done before in paying over the top for players in desperation just to get somebody in. And then you've got the other fans saying, well, we're just going to bring in another Rasmus Højlund 2.0 here because it's an unproven young European striker who's had no Premier League experience. Look, right now, Manchester United have 0 options, it would seem, in terms of bringing in an experienced striker from the Premier League. There is no way that you can get a prolific goal scorer now into Manchester United. Gyökeres has gone. I'd be astounded if that actually come back around now. Even if Arsenal didn't go for him, I would still find it. I would find it highly unlikely that situation comes back around again for Manchester United. I think we've washed our hands of him. I think just hearing what he said there was enough for Manchester United to go, nope, sorry, mate. You had your chance. You could have picked Manchester United. The fact that you just want Champions League football, it tells us that you are not the man for us. It's as simple as that. And that's where Manchester United's stance is right now on him. And let's see what happens with Sesko and Gyökeres with Arsenal. That's an interesting one to keep an eye on, but we're now out of that conversation, it would seem. So, yeah, that's where we're at with Ekitike anyway, and why Man United would actually go for him, and where we're up to in terms of the negotiations and the reports that are currently going around anyway. So, give me your thoughts on that, everybody. Going to jump into the live chat now. Thank you already for all the likes, everyone. Well over 200, absolutely amazing audience yet again. You never fail. Every single live stream you are there, bringing the love. If you are indeed liking the content, then just pop that thumbs up on there. And well, I think you might as well hit that subscribe button as well, everyone, because you will be completely up to date following Forever United TV on everything that's going on. Who else was going to tell you that Christopher Vivel knew the CEO? Sorry, not the CEO, the sporting director at Frankfurt. It was only me who was going to bring up that minor detail, wasn't there? Look, there's probably other people that have done it, but I was just giving myself a little bit of a big up moment there. But yeah. Still, subscribe anyway. Thanks, everyone. Oddy Grass with a super chat. Karma, Chameleon. Chameleon. They come and go. That's on Viktor Gyökeres. I wasn't going to sing it. Not a chance in hell, Oddy. Thanks for the super, though, mate. Stern Love says, many conflicting reports. Do we need to be calm? Yeah, we need to be calm. I think Man United walking away from Gyökeres and just saying, all right, go and deal with your own shit. Let that deal and settle itself out, and then we'll look at where we're at later on. But United saying goodbye to a player that has clearly made his decision and not wanting Man United first, that can happen in football. But Man United cannot wait for a player right now who is waiting on another situation to develop and then come back to us. We need to go in and get somebody else. There is a chance here that Viktor Gyökeres is just left in complete limbo, and that would be a turnout for the Bucks, wouldn't it? Stuart with another super chat says, Brian done this week. Surely window open tomorrow. Yes, it is, Stuart. We mentioned that this morning. We are expecting some form of update at least on Bryan Mbeumo this week. The situation on that one again, just so you're aware, nothing else to report on this. It is that Brentford wants a few million more on their initial payments from Manchester United, or what United are paying first off, as in the first instalment. That is the general consensus amongst most of the reports right now that I'm reading, is that it's that initial payment is what the snag is, and where this or what everyone is saying is a hold-up. I don't even think it is a hold-up. This is just the normality of a transfer that isn't barely 2 weeks old. I'm fine with it. I said it before, just to finish up on Mbeumo, because there isn't anything else to try and even build up into any sort of news. The only time I would worry about Bryan Mbeumo is if we're still now, say for instance, we're entering into into next month and this deal isn't done, and I'm starting to ask questions then. I'm like, right, okay, that's 4 weeks worth now, surely, with everything agreed personally with the player and the structure and the price, that you can get this sorted. So, yeah, I do expect, from what I've read, a little bit of an update coming our way this week. And with the window being open, maybe that is, I don't think it's what we've been waiting for. I think we would have heard anyway this week. But now the window is open, and that's it now, officially open all the way until the end of August, the 1st of September. I think we'll now start seeing a lot come out this week with many players. More comments coming in, everybody. Please, let's get onto this as well. By the way, Victor Osimhen, on that situation, he wants Champions League football. So we can safely say that Osimhen's off the agenda as well then. There has been rumours of talks with Victor Osimhen again, but there are reports that are coming out that he has made it clear to clubs interested in his signature that he's prioritising the Champions League if he comes to Europe. But Romano has just dropped another video earlier on as well, where he talks about Osimhen being a target for Al Hilal still. They are going to come back again for Victor Osimhen. I think what Osimhen did there was he rejected all of them contracts in hope that somebody big would come in from Europe. Nobody's biting. Everybody is looking at this more sensibly now because of PSR. It cannot be done anymore. These players need to understand that the Saudi Pro League does not run through UEFA's rules. It doesn't have PSR. So they can do what they want. Saying no to the Saudi Pro League's money isn't going to convince any European club that you are an outstanding footballer and it doesn't matter about the money, because you're still asking these clubs to bend their rules on what they've got structure-wise and financially to try and get you in. Nobody can do it anymore. It's financially impossible to do what was once done with these stupid wages coming in and transfer fees. Everybody is anchored and is shackled by these PSR and financial fair play rules. And that's all of the big teams in Europe as well. You're not going to get your Barcelonas going out and spending. Look what Real Madrid do. They wait forever and a day to try and get players on the cheap. And that's what happens. They look for players that have got release clauses that they feel is sensible. They waited for Mbappe. They waited for Rudiger. They waited for Alaba. They waited for so many players and got them on a free. You don't see them absolutely smashing transfer records at the moment. Everybody's got to fall in line. And Viktor Osimhen and his representatives are living in cuckoo land if they think that someone's going to come in now just because he said no to the Saudi Pro League and pay him what he wants. No one's going to pay him over 350 grand a week, which is reported, and I repeat, reported, what he actually wants. So, yeah, that's where Osimhen is. So, I'm thinking, like, there goes the lap. Honestly, right now, the only disappointing thing with this transfer window for me is, and I made a big point about Ruben standing by, players who want to go to the Champions League are not going to be on our list. This is the one thing I will hold against Ineos and Ruben Amorim right now. And I've always said, and I've been right down the line, I've been honest, I tried to be balanced as well in judging Ineos, the transfers, Manchester United. The one thing that I have got an issue with is how Liam Delap and chasing him, how they got away with that, and the line that we had, that Omar Barada has come out with, and the line that Ruben Amorim has come out with. I don't like that. And that was that, obviously, players who want Champions League are not going to come to United. It was made very clear from the get-go that Liam Delap wanted Champions League football. I think everybody knew about it, but that was United's top target. And that was according to The Athletic. So we knew that that was genuine. So why is it 1 mil for him and then it's not for everybody else? That's one thing I didn't get at all. Is it players who come to Manchester United from outside of the Premier League that don't want that don't want Champions League football? Because players in the Premier League that want Champions League football, that's okay. I don't know why we would chase him if that was the rule that we was upholding and that was one of the standards and stipulations to the transfers that we're making this summer. That's the only thing I hold against United right now. I just didn't like that because it has to be the same for everybody, surely. Osimhen out, Delap out, Gyökeres out, all want Champions League football. They were our three main talked about targets for this striker position for Manchester United. And all gone for the same reason. Common. Yep, it is. It's now looking like anyone who mentions the word Champions League football is not going to be a Man United target. That's how it seems at the moment anyway. And there's three strikers right there that's not coming to United because of it, I feel. So, yeah, that's where we're at with Osimhen. That's where we're at with Gyökeres, Ekitike. Let's get some comments in here. Viktor Gyökeres is a beast, a player. He will be coming to Manchester United. Samir, I honestly don't think he will. Right now, actually, and now you know that Viktor Gyökeres has said what he's said, would you take him if the opportunity came back around again? Would you ignore everything that he said regarding Arsenal? I've seen some people debating this online today. So he has said he would wait for Arsenal before going to Man United. Knowing that that is the case, and then it came about that Arsenal didn't take him, and then that opportunity came back around, would you still take Viktor Gyökeres at that point, knowing what he said? Would you still go in there? Viktor Gyökeres is a beast. Adam, didn't I hear that Wayne Rooney recommends Ekitike? He does. That would be his pick. Burkhardt for 30 million, a Schick for 10 to 15, and loan Rasmus Højlund out for 2 seasons to try and add value. Unproven players from the German league there, I think, is what we're looking at, Major. I think Burkhardt has been linked with Bayern Munich already, though. Schick, several Premier League clubs are in for him, but his age is a bit of a situation. If you can get him cheap, maybe United would look at that as a cheaper option. I don't know. But he's had a very, very, very good season in the Bundesliga this season. I think he's up there in the top 5, I think maybe even top 3 goal scorers in the Bundesliga. So excellent season for Patrick Schick. Just at the older age now. But if you can get him for 10 mil, someone might take a punt on that and say, well, do you know what, for now, let's see if he can help us get back into Europe, and then we might be able to get another striker next summer and have him as someone just hovering around as a reserve player into his early 30s. I don't know. Some people might think that is sensible transfers. So good point there, Major. Great comment. Thank you. It's good to see people actually thinking outside the box as well. In terms of people still taking Rasmus Højlund, Adam says yes. Kazi says no. Nope for Cornish Maid as well. Ekitike reminds me of a young Henry. Thierry Henry says at Labo 23. Yeah, I mean, I would never compare anybody to any legend. Any young player to any legend right now. It's a recipe for bleeding disaster. It always goes Pete Tong. As soon as you start comparing to any sort of decent player of the past and comparing a young player to them, these days it falls off a cliff instantly, doesn't it? Never do it. Daniel says, believe me, Gyökeres isn't out. He's still in play. I don't buy most reports when it's mostly BS by clubs and agents to generate something. Delat probably made most teams hopeful, knowing he wanted UEFA Champions League football. Look, Daniel, I'm not saying that Gyökeres is out of the picture, but Manchester United might have made their decision. And if that Gyökeres scenario drags on, United buy another striker, Gyökeres is out of the picture. And if United have now entered conversations with Frankfurt, like has been reported, Romano, Plettenberg, Jacobs, everybody has reported the same thing. Why would we be negotiating with Frankfurt and the agent of Hugo Ekitike if we were still looking at Viktor Gyökeres? We now, I think, have pivoted, like has been reported this week. Like I said, like, the story of Gyökeres is going to rumble on. I just don't think Man United are going to be mentioned in anything unless there is a monumental U-turn. I still don't know how I would feel. Like, Gyökeres would have to come out with some big explanation as to why he's turned this back around again. And I'd need to be convinced, to be honest. And I know we could all say, look, we still need this striker. Let's just go out and get him. You'll be cheering his name if he's banging goals in. What are you bitching and moaning about just because he said no to United before? I get all of that. But again, like, we've made this big thing about getting players that want to come to United. And I would actually, at this stage now, love if United went and got a deal for Ekitike after somebody doing something like that. It sets a tone for me more than anything. It sets the tone for Man United going forward in the transfer window. Look, we're willing to pay money for the right player at the right package and the right instalments. We're not scared of spending money on young talent. And I said this before. Don't disregard Ekitike as somebody who is just going to be one of them players. Manchester United weren't watching Rasmus Højlund for as long as we've been watching Ekitike. Man United have been on Ekitike's case for a long time. I said that this morning. It's somebody who hasn't just popped on the scene as a one-hit wonder. United have always monitored him, but missed out on the opportunity. He ended up going on loan from PSG to Frankfurt first, and then they ended up triggering that sell option, and he went cheap, dirt cheap, like 15 million euros at the time. So we are well aware of what he is. It's whether or not we're willing to pay that higher price. I do believe there is a deal to be made there. I really do. Oddy Grass says with a super chat, strong mentality players and a keeper. God, a keeper. I'm with you, my man, all the way, Oddy. New keeper at Manchester United is a big must this season going forward. And I am all over. Trust me on this. Anything drops or any tiny little bit of information on a new keeper, on Drenana leaving or anything like we did the other day. I've done a couple of videos now on the likes of Emi Martinez and other keepers. 2 on Emi Martinez the last 2 days, in fact. Anything at all, I'm with you and I've got you. So make sure you are tuned in, because I will pick up on anything in digging around all of these reports that can make something happen. I mentioned this the other day, and someone has reported this, by the way. I said keep an eye on Jadon Sancho's situation regarding that contract and United triggering that final year. Yeah, triggering another year for Jadon Sancho. Keep an eye on that, because United might have to do that to make some money out of him. So it sounds ludicrous, but it's not. It's actually, I think, a necessary thing to do right now. Looking a bit sticky to attract the right profile of player. I don't think Ekitike is the answer. We need players who won't crumble under pressure. Has he crumbled under pressure? Big stage, quarter-final against Spurs, bang, in you go. Bundesliga, third, helped Frankfurt get to the Champions League again. I don't think he's crumbling on the big stage. I don't. And I get, once again, like, I believe that if United have been following these players for a while, and it isn't just a, wow, let's just go and get a player quickly because we need him. Look at the transfers we've done before. Nobody was looking at Rasmus Højlund for that long. I guarantee it. Antony was off Ten Hag coming in pure desperation. So was Casemiro, because we didn't get De Jong, and we were sent round the bleeding, oh God, we were sent round in circles by Barcelona for that one, weren't we? Honestly, like, and then you're looking at what, Andre Onana, because a bleeding Ten Hag knew him. He turned down Emi Martinez because he wanted Onana, because he knew him. He only buys players in that we know, and these are the players right now that haven't been properly recruited that are causing us a massive problem. So when I hear about a scouting report from Ekitike that goes back to Ream when he was at them before he went to PSG, then I look at that and go, right, okay, at least we know this guy. We know what he is, and we know everything about him character-wise, and United have done a proper job on him. That's what I look into. Thanks for the super chats, guys, everybody. Great points there as well. And Anthony, I'm not saying that you're wrong, by the way. I can completely get that, because he is unproven at the highest level. But this is where we're in gamble zone. First options have gone, and now we're looking at trying to be crafty and clever in what comes next. And it is difficult. It's very difficult for Manchester United to get this. I hear you, Adam, but United are a different animal. I think I just read that out in my own comment there with you even doing that super. I'm sorry, mate. You didn't have to do another super there, Ant, but you are right, mate. And I think I just did the same thing, but it kind of didn't work out the same way on that one. But yes, it is difficult to judge a player when we've not seen him play in the Premier League. But that's the same for every other striker we've been linked with. And I keep on banging on about that. I will always keep on banging on about that. Adam, the argument that we only want players who want to play for us is mainly because we don't want to pay stupid wages and fees. If we get Gyökeres cheaply, should we still question his desire? Look, at the end of the day, I don't think Manchester United are necessarily looking at players who want to come to the club because they're cheaper. You look at what's happening with Mbeumo right now. United are going to pay over 60 million for a player at Brentford. It sounds like I'm being really disrespectful for Brentford there, but Man United are paying over 60 million on two different players here coming into the football club on decent wages, and they both want to come to United. We're buying the best performers in the Premier League in number 10 positions, or some of them, and that's where United are going with it. They're going with proven quality. And yes, you could argue that point's not there with Ekitike, but 2 all-right seasons in Frankfurt, getting better, obviously now knocking on the door for the French squad as well. He's got an impeccable 5 out of 5 for the under-21s, by the way. So, I mean, this now is, like I just said, because we haven't got top targets, we're into the gamble zone, aren't we? Unfortunately, because of United not being good on the pitch. And we have to think outside the box, I'm afraid, everyone. Adam, if United extend Sancho's contract for an extra year, I will buy you a case of Madre. You can go for it, mate. Just make sure you put it on the cooler, Graham, please, this time. I'm only joking, mate. No, but that's a serious situation, because if United loan Jadon Sancho this year, which we can do, apparently, I was always under the assumption that you cannot loan a player in the last year of his contract. The rule must have changed, because I checked it, and you can. So if United have to loan Sancho, then they won't get any money. And that's what United are going to have to decide against. If they can confirm a loan with a team, then they will look to trigger it. But the problem you've got with that, and Graham makes a point, and it's fair, is that what club right now would look at that situation and say, no, hang on a minute, why would we loan him if you're trying to get another year on top of what he's already got so you can get money at the end, when we can loan him now without that triggered year and not have to pay anything at the end, because we could probably convince him to come to us for nothing. while he's at our club for a year. And Jadon Sancho will know this. And Jadon Sancho is obviously, I mean, it is up to the club to do it as well. But then again, do Man United run the risk of having to deal with Jadon Sancho another year and not let him go? Hopefully you get where I'm going with that. Yeah. So there's two angles to it, and there is obviously an argument for both sides on it as well. But yeah, let's have a quick check through everything. Did you hear, by the way, Ryan Gyökeres' comments? If this doesn't tee you up into hate mode, then nothing else will. Ryan Gyökeres' quote, quickly, I'll just go through this right now. I didn't like it when Manchester United won the game against Lyon because I am a Lyonnaise. I'm a Lyon man. Now I am waiting for the game to kill them. I only wanted to sign for Manchester City. I want to kill Manchester United. It's going to be an interesting one. I think the Stretford end will give him a piece of their mind again, especially if United win. Anyway, news just coming out now. I don't know if this is just something similar to what I have just read out, but Plettenberg has just come out with something, it would seem. Let me just check. It is him on his account. Regarding this, in the last 10 minutes, in fact, breaking. Manchester United also made contact with management of Hugo Ekitike over the weekend and have expressed concrete interest. Man United are now in contact with Eintracht Frankfurt and Ekitike. No decision has been made yet. Liverpool and Chelsea are still in the race. It's just an update from Plettenberg. A few other people have said the same thing. So, so that's just another source, another journalist coming out who has big connections, obviously, in Germany. We think we can trust what Plettenberg is saying regarding the clubs in Germany anyway, and anything that Man United are linked to there. He is just confirming that Manchester United are the ones that have made the biggest move so far for Ekitike. So that is something that is moving, and is moving very quickly for United. So again, I will keep over all of that. Bringing you up to date with all of the other news as well. Let's get into the outgoings section of things. Antony and this so-called deal with bleeding Real Betis. I mean, God's sake, man. Can we not get past this? Can we not just sell Antony somewhere? But this is the latest for the Antony situation. Again, it's not good. After meetings between Ramon Alcaron, Manu Fajado, again, sorry for the pronunciation, and Manchester United, so I should have just said representatives from Real Betis and Manchester United, Betis have grown optimistic about Antony's return for another season. Fuck on him. Both parties acknowledge that it may take a few weeks to finalise, as the structure of the agreement has yet to be finalised. Oh, God, like, honestly, we cannot sell anyone. Like, these players and the wages going, oh, man, I tell you what, Baldy's best, Erik ten Hag, needs, he needs lynching. He should be doing Manchester United the solid and taking Antony and paying us. That's what he should be doing. How can a player that has that much goal involvements in Serie A, helping Betis to the place that they got by the back end of that season, not be able to sell him? Hopefully somebody else comes in for him and United just tell Betis where to go. Honestly, they're never going to pay for Antony. They can agree this loan deal and there'll be some obligation at the end that they could probably get out of. They don't want to pay money. The Spanish clubs never want to pay money for anybody. I think there's only really Atletico Madrid and maybe even Real Madrid that really spend big money on players or make significant purchases from players overseas. It really does, like... Yeah, but that's where we're at anyway. It's just annoying because I do want to see the back end of these players. I understand that they are going to take time to get them out of the door. I get that. It just frustrates me, that's all. I'm a United fan that wants to see us progress, and I don't think we will progress in the right way until we've got some of these players out, so we can then invest into better players coming in. And Antony's wage and that contract and them instalments and everything that comes with him is massive to get off the books for Manchester United. It's a painful situation to be in for Manchester United. It really is. It really is. But that is where we are with Antony. Rasmus Højlund, on the other hand, apparently, according to reports in Italy, has now accepted the proposal from Inter Milan. And it is now being pushed forward more. So Inter Milan now have got into overdrive, according to all of the reports, on the Rasmus Højlund transfer. There is now a real possibility that Rasmus ends up leaving Manchester United. It is a real offer that is being worked out, and United are aware of it. Rasmus is aware of it. No matter obviously what he said the other day on international duty, he expects to fight for his place at Manchester United. Maybe he's been told by Ruben Amorim he's not going to be. I mean, you'd have to be confident you're bringing in some strikers at this point, because obviously it's all right saying Rasmus Højlund can go, but United at this time have still not got anybody to replace him. I understand we're talking to a few teams, but still, until the deal is done, Man United are looking to sell one of their strikers. Look, I'm all for Rasmus leaving, don't get me wrong, but I'm all for actually having players to actually play. And that's what you've got to look at as well in all of this, because Manchester United do need to actually have a squad to actually play next season. We haven't got any strikers. Some would say, look, even with Rasmus Højlund, we haven't got anyone anyway, so why don't we get rid of him and then try and get somebody in? But yeah, we're going to come into the comment section on that. Do you feel like Rasmus Højlund is going to leave Man United? Do you think that we can get rid of Antony? Please give the video a like as well, everybody. That will take us over the 500 live like mark. And it is going to be another absolutely epic show from you all. Great performance again. But get into the comments now while giving the video a like. Make sure you hit that subscribe button as well, everybody. You can see the ticker there. Ticking away. Getting ever closer to the magical 85 mark, and we want 90. My mouse is not working, which is why my hand is going all over the place. Sorry, we've got it back now. I blame Antony for that one. I'm doing the Father Ferris wheel with the mouse here, going round in circles. I have no idea what is going on in the window anymore. So much fake news and nonsense. How do we find the genuine news? Look, to be honest, a lot of the time we're talking about things here that are actually materialising and could happen as well. Like it opens up the debate amongst the fans, because right now, like, everybody's had well, not everybody. Every time we've brought up a striker or a potential target for Manchester United, the debate has been, I don't want him. He's not good enough. He's not proven. I'm not too concerned if we don't get him. We cannot afford to lose this guy. We need to get this player in. So everybody's got an opinion on everything. And what it does do, it sparks a fan debate on what's actually going on at Manchester United and what might work best for us. So we get through the news as best as we can, and we bring up everything for everyone to discuss, because that's what we are. We're a fan channel. We're not going to say that anything is definite until it's definite. I give my opinion on it, and I'll give my verdicts off what I've read. And then we go from there, just like everybody else does. Let's see what we've got here. Ross with another chat says, thank you, buddy. I know I am repeating myself, but my hope is that United loan Rasmus to Italy. He has a decent year and they can wipe the debt they owe on him off. Yeah, I think loan is the biggest offer that's on the table right now for Rasmus. If his wages are gone and there's an obligation at the end, maybe that's all right for Man United. I don't know the ins and outs of every sort of finance that they're doing. Obviously, the PSR is run through a different company, as we found out this week for Manchester United. So what we think and what we've seen financially and what United have done under United PLC is different to what the PSR business books are saying. So on all of that, it's, again, we don't know what Man United are going to conjure up over this next few months of the transfer window. It could be anything at this point. My member Stu there has just popped into the live chat there. That's the link to our shirts, everybody. All of the Manchester United shirts, all of the retros are on that site. Grab yourself a bargain. The purple one that I have been wearing is very, very popular right now. Get onto that site there in the live chat, everybody. Grab your shirts, grab your United training tops and everything like that. It's as little as 15 quid. For some of the great retro shirts from the past as well. Some new gear from this year as well. Different training tops and everything that Man United have been using. It's all there on the site. Go check it out, everybody. Let's get some more comments in. Antony is a 45 million player. Easy. Don't know why we can't sell him. That from DK. Helly says, I'm not convinced about Ekitike transfer. I think it's too risky. A lot of people would agree with you, mate. Perhaps you should stop talking about Ananas if this is the effect he has on you. Veronica, no, we talk about everything, and I don't know where that comment has come from. because we weren't even talking about him. You must be way behind on the video, sorry. Got the 04 white away top for Father's Day, Adam. Thank you, Nigel. Love that, mates. Hope you like it. Do get your comments in when you do get your shirts as well. Let me know what you think of them, everybody, as well. If we get Osimhen, then end up in the top 5, surely that covers cost of purchase. It would, but apparently, like we said before, Osimhen apparently wants Champions League football now, so that might not actually be a go anyway. But yes. Gyökeres is too perfect, ridiculously disappointing. That's down to the player, though, I'm afraid. And that wraps things up tonight for us, everybody. Thank you so much again. Absolutely brilliant comment section. Smashed it again, everybody. Absolutely smashed it to pieces. All that's left for you to do is drop your comments in below when this live finishes. Pop a like on the video on the way out. Make sure you've hit that subscribe button. You will be kept fully up to date with everything going on. Enjoy the rest of Father's Day. Hopefully you've been looked after, dads out there. And hopefully everybody has had a great weekend. We will be back on Monday morning. Of course, unless anything drops tonight. Can't see it, but I'll be there anyway. Tomorrow, 8 o'clock, Monday morning show, everybody. I'll be there. I will see you there. And we will take it all from there as the transfer window